In an interview with Susan West, Jeff Oden talks about learning to surf on a pop-out and about surfing on Hatteras Island in the 1960s and 70s.
He used to sell toys through his store. And
Okay.
I'd go with him to Norfolk there in his truck there and pick up toys and all kinds of stuff. And I saw these old, essentially what were known as pop-outs. They were old foam surfboards, and the rails weren't taped. And they had a tendency when we'd take them to the beach, they'd stay out in the sun for part of the summer there, and first thing you know, the rails would start cracking, and then they'd fill up with water. That's probably why my back is hurt, either that or pounding, and I'm not sure which.
Where was your dad's store?
It's where Nito's is now.
Okay.
It's Oden's General Merchandise
Okay.
then, and he ran it until Mark took it over, and he went out to the motel.
Is that where your grandfather's fish house was?
Well, it was where Oden's dock is. When I went to Nesson and Sales, that was a toy store my father used to go out. He would buy all kinds of stuff. He'd buy washers and dryers for the old General Merchandise down there, and then he had toys on the shelf. Saw that old Malibu sitting in there, and I thought it was the hottest thing going. It was a bright red one, and I ended up coming home one year from a sailing camp my parents had sent me to, and I ended up, by the time I got home, I had a birthday, and that was the end of the sailing camp, I can tell you that, because I had a surfboard. So.
How old were you?
I was 11.
Did you teach yourself how to
Yeah,
surf?
we just paddled out, and those things, they were barges anyway. You couldn't fall off of them. You get the thing going, caught a wave with it, and you could stand up. Burness Balance broke my heart the first day I took that old Malibu down to the beach. He said, "That sure is a pretty bright red pop-out you've got there," because that's what they called those. And of course, I think he probably had a Hobie. He had got a nice board. He was doing it, Buddy Hooper. You had John Oakes, Johnny Connery was coming along around then, same time. And we'd gather our nickels and pennies together and throw a few coins there in Wayne's gas tank. And scud on up to Buxton in his old Falcon if we didn't have a wave down here in Hatteras. Back then, it was a bit different than it is now. You see a car pull up, you say, "Oh no." Nowadays, back then you were glad to see somebody because nobody else was doing it.
Do you remember when out-of-town surfers started showing
Yeah, there were a
up?
few that would pop in here or then, and some of the guys come from Virginia Beach or whatnot, and we'd go out of our way to be friendly back then, and it's not to say we're not now, but
The relationship between the local surfers and the out-of-towners is pretty good.
oh yeah, it was great. I mean, through the 70s, I would say. I don't know, it might have started taking a downturn in the mid to late 70s, or then it was pretty big influx of out-of-towners, and I'd probably faded a little bit out of it by then, to where I kind of got out of it for a few years, having to accept responsibilities with the family, and it's not to say I quit surfing, it's just to say it wasn't my focus like it was prior and is now. Interestingly enough, when I was in high school, and I got in a car wreck in my last year of high school, and I ended up breaking my leg and about every other bone in my body, and quickest way back in the water is about a month and a half later, I just happened to be checking out my Surfer magazine, and they had a kneeboard in there, and that was unique to me because I'd been surfing for 8 or 9 years by then, and so I got that, and finally got my leg. I never did have a cast on it, and I don't know, within a month and a half, I hobbled down to the jetty there, and with my crutch, went to the lighthouse, and Rob Fincham reminded me of that the other day. He said, "The first time I saw you, you were hobbling down there with a crutch." He jumped in and paddled out.